So welcome to Ewe Sew You. My name's Zoe and this is my channel all about the crafty bits and pieces I get up to. And today we're taking a look at how I put in buttonholes in my sewn garments. Okay, so as you know, I've been working on the birdie button-up shirt, which clearly needs some buttonholes, otherwise it wouldn't be a button-up. So let's take a look at how I go about putting in buttonholes when I'm sewing garments. Okay, buttonholes. To make a buttonhole, you need a buttonhole foot. My machine has a one-step buttonhole function on it, which is really handy. So I have this foot. You need the button that you're going to be using. I recommend Fray Check for buttonholes. Mine is by Prim. I'm assuming there are other brands available. Seam ripper, or if you have one, a buttonhole chisel. And I also use a pin because I use the seam ripper method, so I have a pin as well that I use. It's all you need for your buttonholes that's like not standard on your machine. A lot of machines will come with buttonhole foot. So you place your button in this bit of your buttonhole foot without dropping it on the floor. So you place your button in your buttonhole foot and you push it in so that it's measuring the button. That's going to tell your buttonhole foot how long to stitch for. There's also a bit on the machine that you pull down. I'll show you that in just a second, but let's flip the camera around. Okay, so around the back of my machine, there's this lever here. So you pull that down so that it sits behind this bit of the foot. And when the buttonhole foot is doing this side of the hole, it'll only go as far as this bit. That'll stop it and tell the machine that it needs to change direction. So it's a clever little bit of kit. Okay, so the buttonhole is going to start to do the front edge first, then it's going to sew away from you, across the back and back towards you. So you always want to be starting at the front of your buttonhole. So once you've marked it on your fabric, that's where you want to be positioning it. It's always worth doing a practice first. So I've got a scrap bit of fabric and I'm going to fold it over as many times as I've got layers, roughly. So one bit is interfacing. And I'm going to use that to practice my buttonholes. Okay, so I'm all set up. I've dropped my foot down and I've set the machine up according to the instructions in my pamphlet. Obviously I'm showing you from the opposite side of the machine at the moment, just because that's where the angles work. So I'm going to pop my needle down and we're going to sew buttonhole. This is where you find out you've got your settings completely wrong, so let me just change those. And reset. This is why we practice. So attempt number 2. That's much better. It did catch a little bit, but we get the idea. So I'll do another couple of practices and just make sure my tension's correct and everything. Then I'll show you how I open them up. Okay, so one more practice. Lift the needle and reset first. Don't reset with your needle down, it'll break your needle. There we go. Okay, so we have some practice buttonholes. Obviously I'd normally use coordinating thread. It's easier for you to see if I use contrast. So the next thing we do is open these up. Okay, so the first thing I do when I'm opening up a buttonhole is I apply a liberal amount of fray stop, fray check, just to reinforce the seam. It dries clear, you can't see it once it's dry. Just gives that a little bit of time to soak in and dry, and then we'll be ready to open it up. Okay, the fray check has sunk in. It's not totally dry, but that's okay. It just seems to be dry-ish. It'll still do its job, and as it dries it'll seal things in. So I'm just going to place a pin just before that bar tack at the end of the buttonhole. And I'm going to open out the buttonhole in 2 passes. So I'm going to start in the middle. I pop in my seam ripper in, and I'm going to push it along to that pin. Sometimes you should do it in bits. This has got quite a few layers of fabric. So it will take a little bit of effort to get it through. The purpose of the pin being there is to stop me from going too far. There we go, that's that half opened up. And we can swap the pin to the other side. Flip it around. And again, open up to that pin. And the pin's going to stop me from cutting through the bar tack. If it's not quite getting close enough, I'll go back the other way into the hole, making sure I'm popping out the hole before I push forwards with my seam ripper, just to open up those last little bits. I'll do the same on the other end. So in at the stitches, on the inside of the stitches, out through the hole, and then push. There we have an opened up buttonhole. If you want to put the fray check on at this point, you can do. I should prefer to put it on first, although with this fabric, I think afterwards might be better. So I'll just show you how to do that again on another buttonhole. This time we'll try with the fray check afterwards. So pin in first, seam ripper into the middle, and push towards the pin. That's actually working a lot easier without the fray check on. So again, the pin is stopping us going too far. Swap the pin around to the other side. Pop the seam ripper in and push through. And then, yeah, I would put fray stopper on now. So I think that's the option I'm going to take for this shirt. Yeah. I tend to do all my buttonholes in one go and then open them all up at the same time. So I hope you found that useful and interesting. And let me know down below if you'd also be interested in seeing how I put buttonholes into hand knit garments as opposed to sewn ones. But in the meantime, you may be interested in spending some more time with me with this video here.